Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Operation Miss podcast. I can barely get through this introduction because I am so excited to have Juquetta and her two beautiful princesses on today. Hi, Kinsley. Hi, Casey. How are y'all
Hello.
doing?
Good.
Good. I'm so happy because what we do on this podcast is we teach people through the stories of our beautiful moms and sometimes providers what moms need to be supported and how data can really help them make better decisions for themselves so that they can show up to every phase of womanhood in their best health, not just pregnancy, but we have life after pregnancy. And so we want to figure out how do we help ourselves not lose ourselves in taking care of our little ones. And no one does it better than Juquetta. And so I'm so excited to have her on. And please introduce yourself and introduce your babies, your precious babies.
Hi, I am Juquetta. This is my 4-year-old Kinsley, and this is my 4-month-old Casey. Say hello.
Um,
Casey is infatuated with Kinsley. It doesn't get any better than Big Sister, and Kinsley is the most awesome big sister. Anything mommy needs her to do, Casey tries. She comes running. As soon as she gets home from school, she has to find Casey. They just love each other, and that's exactly what I wanted.
Amen. Amen. Oh my gosh, they're so beautiful. And
Thank
so
you.
whenever you're ready, I know that your sweet, lovely princess is going to be coloring and eating. So
You ready to eat breakfast?
what she'd like.
All right, go get your breakfast.
Okay, now can you tell us a little bit about you and our sweet Miss Baby? How are y'all doing? And just tell us a little about you as a person outside of being a mommy.
Okay, so before I became a mom, I was a journalism student at Georgia Southern. 2020, I got pregnant with Kinsley right when the pandemic started. So I took a break from school and had her in December. And I took 2 years off. And then I was like, you know what? I have to finish this degree. I was already burnt out before Kinsley came about, but definitely when she came about, I was like, this just, I don't know. Like, I love journalism, but the process of getting to the degree, I don't like school. I love journalism. I don't like school. So, but I said, I have to do it. I have to show her that I did this with you on my hip. I don't want her to think that I didn't finish because I had her. And so I moved back to Statesboro by myself with her, and we got it done. Her dad was working out of town at the time, my husband. I've been married for 2017. I think this year will be 8 years. The years are just ticking off. But
Yeah.
yes, we were high school sweethearts. Met senior year, and we literally have been inseparable ever since. So
Wow.
it was very hard when he went to work out of state, but it was necessary for us to live the lifestyle that we needed at the time. So yes, Kinsley and I moved back to Statesboro, and I finished my degree. So I am officially a journalist with a bachelor's degree. Always been a journalist, but now I have a degree behind it.
Yeah.
Funny story. So I moved back to my hometown, enrolled Kinsley in daycare. I needed a job. I've never moved in my life. I've been in the same place all my life. We lived in the same house all my life. So it was just weird, like moving and then coming back a year later. So I asked the director, I'm like, hey, are you hiring? And she's like, yeah. And so that's it. So I've been a daycare teacher for this is my 3rd year, and I love it. I love it so much. I'm not even thinking about my journalism degree. Um, which is not to say that I'm not going to use it. I definitely want to use it, but just right now, like the kids is where it's at. I'm teaching 4-year-olds this year. The past 2 years, it was 2-year-olds. So it fit perfectly for me to get paid to care for these children as I care for my own children.
Yeah.
So it's the perfect job right now. Journalism, not really. I don't want to get up 3, 4 in the morning to report the news. That's not going to work right now. Picking up my babies and not being able to show up because my babies are sick. So it'll get used one day, just not right now.
You know what I love about that, Juquetta, is that you've already used it because what you said is so valuable. You don't want your baby girl to think that you didn't finish because of her. And you're showing her you can do anything at any phase of life that you want to do. And I love that because I think there are some moms and they get pregnant young, or they might be not be married like you are, and they feel like their life is going to come to an end. And what you're showing us, and I always cry, these podcasts make me cry, because what you're showing them is that life doesn't have to end because you get pregnant or because you have a baby. Life, it can be what drives you to continue, right?
Yes, she
And
drove me.
yes, she drove you to continue, because maybe you'll use it in the future, maybe you won't, but what you showed yourself is that what you started, you can finish. You will
Exactly. And
finish.
that was exactly what I wanted to do. I wanted to show her it took me a while, but I finished it. Like, it doesn't matter the journey as long as you get to your destination. And the
Yeah.
journey really is the destination. All that I've
Mhm.
learned, all the people I encountered at my time at Georgia Southern, like, it was all a part of the plan. Her coming along was all part of the plan. God knew I needed a push. And I love to take care of others. I'm good helping others. And so I feel like Kinsley was that push, like, you're burning out, you don't want to do it for yourself. Here's a little motivation. So
Yeah, yeah. And that segues well into, it's funny, I was just thinking about how much you love caring for your family and how much joy it brings you, and how you have really learned, though, how to strike a balance between caring for them and caring for you. Can you talk a little bit about that? I would love for you to just give us some insight into how you got to where you are now.
yes. So Kinsley and these egg bites. So let's see. Always love taking care of people, not very good at taking care of myself. I would put you before me. um I'm running off 1 hour of sleep, but you need me to come over and sit and talk with you. Okay, I'm gonna put you first. But now I've realized you can call someone else. Like, I understand I'm the person that you prefer, but I need you to find someone else because I need my sleep. That's what I've learned. I can still be there for you. Let me just energy. Do I have the time? And Dr. Cat has been such a big part of that. Like, as far as finding time for myself and managing my family, you have been my role model in this season. You're so busy and you do so many things, but your family needs are always met. That time when you said your son needed to go cut grass, but you didn't get much sleep that night and you just felt awful. And so you had to reschedule. That's big, because other people would have been like, well, we need this money. My son has made a commitment. But if you are on zero, you have nothing to give to anyone else.
Yeah.
What would the story be if you went out there in that hot sun helping him cut grass and you passed out? Now, what is your family going to do now that you've put this money and this commitment before your health? That's what I've learned from you, and I just love it, and I take it so serious. Like taking my blood pressure, I'm going to find that 5 minutes, even if the baby has to cry for a few minutes. I'm so sorry, sweetheart, but I need to check my blood pressure to make sure that I can get up and care for you after this.
Oh, I love that. I love that so much. And I love that you find those 5 minutes. And it's funny that you say that you look at me as a role model. Girl, I've been reading your messages. I'm like, I need to be doing what she's doing over there. Okay. Because you really did, from the first time you got on. I feel like, I can't remember what was the first thing you did. Maybe it might have been to take a day off of work, or, I mean, you just had a very good work environment where you're able to say, hey, I need this, or let's rearrange this. And once you did it one time, it was like you just
Yes.
understood that you're better for them if you're healthy. And they understood that too. And same thing with your family. And so I think that's phenomenal. So let's go back a little bit. So you're pregnant, you hear about a monitoring opportunity. What made you say, oh yeah, I want to do that?
So funny, my Apple Watch, I had just lost it. I had an Apple Watch. I stepped on it, broke the face. Well,
No.
first I swam in it. I thought it was waterproof. You do not need to submerge it in a swimming pool. And so it wasn't working because of that. And then I stepped on it. Anyway, no Apple Watch. So my doula, Shira, posted in our group chat, hey, here's an opportunity to get some care outside of your regular medical care. Check it out. And so I was like, oh, a free smartwatch. Like, okay, let's see what this is about. And so that's what got me started, because I miss tracking my steps and all of that. So I'm like, okay, free smartwatch. smartwatch, blood pressure cuff. Okay, it can't hurt. Extra monitoring. I'm healthy, but I could use that. So that's how I signed up.
That's so awesome. And it's funny when you first came on. So Amber, your actual monitor, even though they all say we're all y'all are all my babies.
Y'all are a team.
Apparently, we're a team, right? So I'm the helicopter monitor. All a team.
And Amber watches the numbers.
Okay. And she loves you so much, just like I do. And when I talked to you and got a little bit of your personality, I said, oh my gosh, she has to be hooked up with Amber because y'all have so much in common. Just in the way that you love your families, in the way that you give to other people. And because I was her monitor, and I knew she needed a little, hey, you got to slow down. Hey, you got to take care of yourself. Hey, you have to take these diet changes seriously. She was so tired of me, but we were so in love with each other at the end of her pregnancy. And before, actually, I was in love with her before that. But y'all are like the perfect match. And seeing her evolution and your evolution at the same time is just, it's lovely. It's so lovely. So I'm so happy that you said yes, because you've been nothing but a blessing to us.
Thank you.
Okay. Yeah. So tell us about your pregnancy, about your delivery. So just can you give people a kind of a rundown of your pregnancy? And then, of course, we want to hear about this miraculous delivery. You know we do.
Can't wait to tell you about that part. That's my favorite part. The pregnancy. So my first pregnancy was great. It ended in a hospital birth, which was good. And then the second pregnancy was great as well. Both pregnancies, I lost weight. Now, my first pregnancy, I didn't want sweets. I have a horrible sweet tooth, ice cream, anything. I didn't want any of that. I only wanted fruit when I was pregnant with Kinsley, fruit and sleep. And so that's what I did. This pregnancy, not much sleep because I'm working full time. I am a full-time mother, and Casey wanted ice cream. She was like, Mommy, eat all the ice cream that you want. But I still did not gain a lot of weight. I ended at my start weight, which is kind of unheard of for pregnancy. I wasn't trying to lose weight or anything, but I was very active. I'm working 8 to 10 hour days, physically, on my feet with the children all day, come home and take care of Kinsley. The food aversions, there's not much that you want to eat, so it was very natural. I wasn't trying to lose weight, but yes, the scale was going down during my pregnancy, which I knew from my first pregnancy that was good. So yes, healthy pregnancy, everything went great. Blood pressure was great the entire pregnancy, using my blood pressure cuff from Miss, keeping up with those numbers from you guys. Okay, I don't need to cook dinner tonight because I'm already at a 5. I just worked 10 hours. I'm already at a 5, which is the lowest that you can go on the watch. Hubby, let's order out tonight. Or hubby, can you cook tonight? Mom, what are you cooking? Do you have some extra food? Things like that. So that was the pregnancy. Casey came at 39 weeks and 2 days naturally. She was born on Thursday. So the timeline of her birth, Monday, I'm at work. I trip over a child and fall. Didn't get hurt. Well, I sprained my ankle, but my belly, everything was okay. Went to the ER and got checked out. That's Monday. They told me, yeah, just stay home. We'll keep in touch with you. Just take a little rest, stay home. Basically, like, don't come back into this building falling 9 months pregnant, lady. Okay, just let's work out some things. You just stay home right now. So Tuesday, I had a doctor's appointment. I was 70% effaced, 2 centimeters dilated. Okay, we're making some progress. Kinsley came at 38 on the dot. She came the night before. No, 39. 39. She came the night before I turned 39. So I'm like, okay, Casey, like, you should be here by now. We're 39 and day 1. Hopefully they'll say I'm 8 centimeters dilated, and that's not what I got. But I was happy with what I got. Now, I want to say that was the only time that I was checked, because cervical checks, they can drive you crazy. If she had said, hey, you're not effaced and you're not dilated at all, I would have been crushed, which is why I waited until 39 weeks so I could gauge, like, am I gonna run over into 40? Because she's feeling like she's sitting up high. I don't think anything's gonna happen anytime soon. So I finally got the cervical check, and that was good news to me. So I came home Wednesday, I started having contractions that morning. So Monday, I fall. I'm okay. They send me home from work, rest. Tuesday, I go to the doctor. Wednesday morning, I start having contractions, and they're not Braxton Hicks. Like, these are the real thing. And so I go and say goodbye to the kids at school. This will probably be your last time seeing me. I love y'all, because when you work with children, you have to love them like your own. You can't treat them like your own, of course, but you have to have that love and respect for them like your own. And those were my babies. So I went and said my goodbyes to them. 6 p.m., 3 p.m. to 6 p.m., I take a nap. 6 p.m., I get up. I do the Miles circuit, which is you put yourself in 3 positions. It just helps get the baby in an optimal position. So I did the 2 positions for 30 minutes, and then I did a 30-minute walk up a hill. So that was 10 times, that was 3 times up and down that hill. I pumped breast milk. I spent some time with my husband, and 12 a.m., the contractions started back up. I'm ready to go to sleep at this point. I've had a full day. I'm exhausted. It's time to go to sleep. So I shower, I get in the bed. 3 a.m., I can't do it anymore. From 12 to 3, the contractions are just getting stronger and stronger. So I'm in the bed. Kinsley's over in her bed in our room. My husband is asleep, and I'm trying not to disturb them. But the contractions, every time I doze off, they come. And so I jump up like, oh gosh, that hurt. And then I doze back off. And then I'm like, oh gosh. So at this point, I'm pushing up against the headboard, trying to get some pressure, trying to stay quiet. So I'm like, this isn't going to work. So I leave the bedroom. I come into the living room, and I'm trying to breathe through it. And I start to cry. Like I feel myself slipping. And so I'm like, okay, I think this is labor. Why am I crying? So I call Shira. She's an hour away. I'm like, hey, I'm starting to cry. Like, can you just talk me through this? And she's like, it's time. I'll be there. Go get in a warm bath. I'll be there. And so I wake my husband up. Can you help me clean out the tub? It was clean, but just to make sure it's sterile, can you clean out the tub? Get me in. So I get in the bathtub and I just relax. And so I take a nap until Shira gets here. So she comes, she wakes me up. She's like, hey, you ready to get out? Like, let's get the show started. So I get out of the water and I just labor in the house. We just talk. I have the labor comb. I'm squeezing that for contractions. Very chill. Like, everyone's just letting me do my thing, Shira and my husband. It's dark in here. The sun isn't up. This is 4 or 5 in the morning at this point. So I'm just laboring. And then she says, you ready for the pool? I'm like, no, just give me a little bit. So finally I get ready for the pool. They've had it covered at 100 degrees in the living room. And so I get into the pool. Wonderful. That water, I just relax. And so now I'm taking naps between the contractions. I'm laid back on the pool. I'll go out and take a nap. Contraction comes, I wake up. It was so great. Yes, contractions hurt, but compared to my first birth when I had Pitocin, and it literally felt like a truck was hitting me back to back to back. I had a little bit of time to recover. I would take a breath and another one was coming. It was just awful. So these contractions, I'm like, okay, yes, that hurt. That's uncomfortable, but my body would just relax. And then I would just lean back into the pool and I would come back for the contraction. It was wonderful. So my labor starts stalling because Shira's like, hey, you haven't made any noise in a while. What's going on? And so she's like, I think we might need to get out of the pool. But what I loved about my doula, there was never a, you need to do this. This is the next step. It was just, hey, mama, how are you feeling? Do you feel any contractions? It's been about 20 minutes. Okay, let's go ahead and get out. Let's let gravity. What are you thinking? It was very much, what do you want to do? I'm here to support you. So that energy, that's exactly what you need in birth. My husband, he's running, getting water, towels, whatever we needed. And everyone's just quiet and calm. The energy was amazing. There's a diffuser with my favorite eucalyptus oil blowing right in my face by the pool. There's music. I made my own playlist. So my playlist is playing. Music calms me. Music really touches my soul. So everything's going great. So I get out of the pool and gravity kicked in. While I was in the pool, Shira told me, she was like, okay, you're doing good, but we have to get her over the pelvic bone. I don't remember us talking about a pelvic bone. I don't know what it looks like. So I'm like, oh my gosh, like I'm spent. Like this is across a pelvic bone. Like, what is that? So I just started talking to God. I'm like, Lord, step into this room right now and put your hands on me. Like, I don't have it, God. I'm not sure that I can see this through. I need you to step in and get me through the rest of this. And that's exactly what he did. So I got out of the pool and she told me to walk up and down the house. So I'm walking And this now we're at like 9 a.m. I get out of the pool. I'm walking and gravity is just hitting me like she's dropping. So I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm getting aggravated. So I'm in that transition phase now. So I stop in this dining room and I lean on the chair. I'm like, I'm just so over this, like, oh my goodness. And so I'm like, I want to get on the floor. So I lay right here on the floor. They put pillows underneath me. And then Kinsley wakes up. So now we're like 9:45. Kinsley wakes up. We had already talked about this. We knew we were going to birth at home. This whole process, Casey was our baby. It was never, yeah, mommy and daddy are having a baby. It's we're having a baby. You were getting a sister. It's funny. A month before I got pregnant, she said she wanted a sister. And I was like, what would make you say that? Like, don't say that. Like, I don't know what you're talking about. And then a month later, her sister was conceived. So anyway, so she wakes up and she said that her job, she wanted to have the fan. She wanted to fan me. We have this electric stroller fan. That's what she wanted to do. So she literally comes out of the bedroom all sleepy eyed. And I hear Shira and her dad say, good morning, Kinsley. And so she grabs her fan and she's like, mommy, you can do this. You can get my sister here. Push my sister out. You can do this, mommy. I'm like, you know what? Yeah, let's get this over with. And so I turn over and get on all fours and I just start pushing with the contractions. And 9:50, Casey was here. Kinsley was literally standing there as I'm on all fours and Casey's head pops out. We have a video and she's stroking her cheek. She takes her hand and she stroked Casey's cheek while she's hanging out of my body.
Oh my God.
Some people, when I say that part, because that's just so beautiful to me for her to witness her sister being brought into this world. We have necessary talks with Kinsley about death and things like that, very appropriate conversations for her age, so that was just so beautiful. And people are like, what? She was there. She saw it. And I'm like, yes, she was there, like that's how she got to see how she came into the world versus via her sister. So anyway, so the Ring of Fire came, which I'm sorry, ladies, it's the Ring of Fire. It's literally when the head has crowned and baby is just sitting there. Her head is just holding you wide open. That is the Ring of Fire. And it literally is fire. It's temporary. When the head pops out, it's gone. But yes, I learned afterwards that you should sit into that Ring of Fire so your baby's shoulder can rotate and then they can come out on the next contraction. I was like, no, I felt that Ring of Fire and I pushed with everything in me. I pushed with everything in me. If I had known that you should sit there, maybe I would have waited, but I pushed with everything in me when that Ring of Fire hit. And she flew out. Her dad handed his phone to Shira. She was like, okay, dad, get ready to catch her. And in the video, you hear him, he hands the phone, she puts it down, the baby flies out. He almost missed her. It was wonderful. She flew out. So, and I tore just a little bit. I didn't need stitches. My OB asked me, did I want to let it heal? I had stitches with Kinsley. I did not enjoy them. I'm sitting in the hospital bed holding Kinsley and I feel them sticking me with a needle. And so I'm like, what are you doing? You're hurting me. Like, what are you doing? And they're like, oh, we're just numbing you. And then I didn't feel anything, but I didn't enjoy that. So she was like, stitches or no? I'm like, no, it'll heal on its own. Excuse me. Oh, she's asleep. And so that's what happened. It healed on its own. Yes. So we went to the hospital. Casey was born 9:50 a.m. I needed to get the placenta out. Also, my water broke during labor. My water broke when I got out of the pool around like 9:30-ish. My water broke. So ladies, it happens differently. I know in the movies you're in Walmart and a big puddle of water hits the floor and everybody gets to running and you go to the hospital. It's not like that. It can break whenever. Some babies are born in caul, which means that they're still inside the amniotic sac. It doesn't break at all. I was hoping that would happen because that's so amazing. The baby is literally in there like still sleeping, just hanging out in the sack until you break it. But anyway, water broke around 9:30. Casey was here 9:50 a.m. Now I need to get my placenta out. It's not coming out. I sit on the couch for an hour. It's not happening. So Shira's like, okay, let's go straddle the toilet. Let's try that. I stand up and I'm like, I need something. I have to vomit. And I vomit so hard that the placenta flew out. I went, and the placenta flew straight out. So there was that. So the placenta comes out. She's like, okay, now it's 11 o'clock. She's like, you got to pee before I go. And so I'm like, okay, cool. I go to the toilet. I have no urge to pee. And so she's like, I can't leave until you pee. Like, we don't want you to hemorrhage. And so I'm like, Shira, like, please, I did the hard work. She's like, no, you got to pee. You got to do it. And so she's like, okay, well, oh, and the ambulance came and checked us out. So Casey was born 9:50. They got here around like 10:18. We called as soon as she flew out. Her dad called and the ambulance came to check us out. So they, looked at us, did the report. Do you want to go with us? I'm like, no, we're fine. We're going to go to the hospital later. And they left. So she's like, I'm going to have to call them back and you're going to have to go to the hospital and get a catheter. We have to get that urine out. And so I'm like, catheter, stick something. No, ma'am. I get a bottle of water. I chug that whole bottle of water. And finally it came. She's out here in the house cleaning up, packing up her stuff. I'm like, Shira, I feel it. It's coming. And I even thought about faking it. I was like, maybe I should just tell her that I peed because because the plan was to stay at home and get ready to go to the hospital. Like when we're ready, as long as everyone's healthy, we'll go to the hospital. And so I'm like, no, like I'm going to have to pack up now and go. And so I thought about lying. I'm like, no, that's not going to do us any good. Don't do that. Get the urine. And so drink the whole bottle. The urine comes out. So she's standing there and the urine comes out. She's like, yay, okay. She has to get to a C-section. So she's getting ready to go. And I'm like, wait, I feel something else. And so I stick my hand down there. The amniotic sac comes out. So that's why it was so important for me to take that first urine before she left to make sure that like my body is back functioning properly. And that's probably what was holding me up, that amniotic sac. And so she was like, oh my goodness, this is your sac. I'm so glad it came out. You would have hemorrhaged. If I had left and you had stayed here, you would have hemorrhaged because that was left over in your body. So I'm so grateful. Be honest with your providers, y'all. I'm so grateful that I did not lie and say I peed because I would have been in trouble. So 12 o'clock, she leaves, heads off to her C-section. And I get in the bed. I get my little baby. We get her wrapped up, no bath or anything. We put some clothes on her. We get in the bed. And so we just bond as a family. That's 12 o'clock. I had my hospital bag mostly packed, but I didn't have like clothes picked out for her. And so now like I know what you look like. I know what this feels like. Now I know what I want you to wear. So I throw our last minute stuff in the bag and we're just chilling. Did my parents come get Kinsley? My parents came and got Kinsley and she stayed with them. At 37 weeks, I tested positive for GBS, group B strep. It's not anything bad. It's just that there's bacteria in your, what do you call that?
For the in your urinary tract.
Yes, it just means that there's bacteria. It's very natural. It's very common. I want to say the statistic is 1%. It only harms 1% of babies. But the hospital takes the precautions. So went to the hospital. We had to do a 48-hour stay because of that. Normally it's 24, but they wanted to monitor the baby for 48 hours to make sure that the GBS bacteria didn't bother her. So that was fine. It turned out beautiful. It was 2 days. Yes, we missed Kinsley so awfully, but we got to bond with this new person. It was just me, her, and my husband, and it was wonderful. Around the clock meals. It was annoying taking the blood pressure and the vitals and all that. Like people were just always coming out. So there was that. So I called my OB, hey, we've had the baby. Can I go to the hospital here or do we need to come to Macon and see you? And she's like, oh my gosh, you had the baby? Okay, well, if y'all are healthy, please come to Macon, let us see you. And so I'm like, okay, we're on the way. So we get to the hospital. It's around 6 o'clock, right before 6 o'clock. And so we have her in the carrier because I just know it's safer to carry them in the carrier. So we go to the front desk and the receptionist's like, hey, you're checking in. I'm like, yes, ma'am. I just had a baby. I need to be seen. My midwife was supposed to call. And so she's like, okay, we can't have any car seats in the hospital. That's their policy, no car seats. And so we're like, okay, do you want me to take the baby out? And she says, there's a baby in there? And I say, yes, ma'am. So I turn the car seat around and she's like, you already had the baby? I say, yes, ma'am. I just delivered her at home this morning. We're coming to get checked out. And so she's looking like, and there's a lady training. She's training a lady beside her. And they're like, she said, okay, I don't know what to do. Let me call somebody. And so she calls. I thought that they knew that we were coming and who we were. So she calls and they're like, okay, yes, we're expecting her. Send her on through. So she's like, okay, we've never had anyone bring a baby in. Come on through. And the lady that was training, she was like, whew, I'm glad that you were here because I wouldn't have known what to do if you didn't know what to do. So we get back there and everyone's just like, so you had the baby at home? And they're just looking at us like, oh my goodness. And so we get in our room, and when people come to visit, they'll ask questions like, how was the labor? Or they'll ask something where I have to say, like, we did it at home. Like they'll be like, how long have you been here? How has your hospital stay been? And I'm like, we just got here. I delivered her at home. And they're like, why you did it at home? So it was pretty cool. Everyone was calling me Superwoman. So that was the hospital stay. We got cleared. We came back home, picked up Kinsley, and that was that. Am I missing anything? Nope, that was
Oh
that.
my God.
Healthy mommy.
Girl, okay, so I have to tell you, first of all, I took so many notes. I took so many notes.
I saw you over there writing.
Jaquetta, the podcast, the reason I think this podcast is so powerful when moms come on and really share like you have is because moms get to really hear what's possible. Because all we hear is what's happening. And there is a huge difference between what's happening and what's possible, but a large part of it is your team, right? Is a large part of it is your team. A larger part of it is your faith. Along the delivery process, I feel like there's a point for almost every mom where she's like, I just don't know how much longer I can do this, right? So if at that point you're in a setting where someone jumps in and says, we can give you an epidural for that. We can give you Pitocin to make baby come faster. We can. Then you start to think they have to because I can't, right? So it's not always that they're pushing anything on you. It's that in that moment, doubt has a moment to creep in. And we know that doubt can impact our decision making. And you didn't make room for that. You didn't make any room for that. Y'all are home with the people who believe in you the most around you. And I just feel like that is the most beautiful setting to be in. It's the most beautiful environment. And some people do get that environment in the hospital. Sometimes some people get that environment in the birthing center. Most people have that environment when they are at home. And so you, like me, have both my children at home. Well, I had both of them at home, and Victor got to see his sister born. And I thought, I wouldn't have it any other way. I wouldn't have him in another room. I wouldn't have him with anybody else. This is beautiful to behold. And when you talk about the bond that Kinsley and Casey have, it's because of what you and your husband created. When you see someone come into this world that is your sibling, I think about it, strangers see people's babies born before their family members do. That to me is just so, I just don't think that's the way it was designed to be, you know? And so if possible, then having the whole family there is such a beautiful thing. So so I want to say something. So the GBS vaginal tract, I think I said urinary tract, vaginal. So if the bacteria is in the vagina, can impact the baby. And like you said, very low percentage of it happening, but y'all took, you did your due diligence to make sure that you were okay and baby was okay, which is great. I wanted to go back though to something else that you said. You napped in the water. You contrasted your experience with Pitocin and the lack of pain relief that you had. And with this one, it's like, yeah, we experience pain, we get through it, and we move on. And that's life. And so I think that when you experience that in birth, you're able to realize that in life, because later we're going to have painful things happen. We're going to have unexpected things happen. But it's like you have the formula, you have the formula for getting through that. It's that you endure it, you breathe, you rest, you take the next step. And you and Casey just being able to have that cadence with each other, there is nothing like it. There's nothing like it. Dark, serene. You talked about a labor comb. Can you tell us how that helped and what that is for people who don't know?
So I want to say first, backing up a little bit, we can do it. You can birth your baby at home. People call me superwoman, and yes, it is a supernatural thing, but you can do it. You just have to set your mind to it. And I don't mean to say you just have to, because it's a process, and you have to know in your heart. Breastfeeding Kinsley, the first time, I knew in my heart, I do not want formula. I want what God has given me to give to my baby. That is how I want to do it. And I was determined to breastfeed her. There was nothing that was going to get me off of it unless literally the milk did not come out. I was determined. So with this birth, I was determined, we are going to do this. I'm going to hire this doula. I'm going to have my husband there. We did a birthing class with the doula. I wanted to give birth at the birthing class. Shira's birthing class was so informative. I was like, we can't do this now. Like, can I poke her and make her come out? Like, we have everything. We practice with ice, with the comb, with essential oils. It was just figuring out what works for you. And I figured out what would feel good to me if I was uncomfortable, and I was ready to birth her. But be prepared. If you prepare, you can do it. Have things in place to where when you start losing it, there's a backup. The first time in the hospital at 5 centimeters, I started losing it. My mom was laboring with me. I said, Mom, I got to get her out. I can't do this. I can't take this anymore. And there was a travel nurse there, Asha, and I wish I could find her because she probably saved my first birth. She overheard me. I had 2 nurses, and she overheard me, and she said, hey, I heard you. I know I had told her I don't want any interventions. Do not bother me unless it is medically necessary. That is my birth plan. Let me do what I need to do. And so she said, I heard, what you were telling your mom. She checked my cervix. She said, you're halfway there, 5 centimeters. She said, you can do this. If you need intervention, we can do it, but you can do this. She said, I see that you're just letting the pain hit you. I need you to ride it like a wave. I need you to connect with that pain to get you through these contractions. So I'm like, okay, you're right. I can do this. She reminded me of what I wanted. I still want that. I just need this pain to stop. So I got the IV pain meds. They didn't do anything. They helped me focus, but they made me close my eyes and lay in the bed. So now I'm frustrated because I can't even walk around anymore. I literally I just want to lay here. But I can focus a little better. And so I'm riding the waves. When the pain comes, I just relax and I literally just let it carry me like I'm just floating in the ocean. And I got through it. 8 centimeters. I was like, hey, I have to pee. I can't get up and walk. I'm just going to have to pee here. They were like, okay, let me check you. 8 centimeters, 10 centimeters. Hey, I have to poop. I'm just going to poop right here. I'm sorry. I can't get up. They check me. Everybody starts running. You're 10 centimeters. The baby's right there. Everybody starts running. Get the doctor in here. I'm like, I hope you can. Because when my body, I had did so much research. Don't let them tell you to push. I said, when my body tells me to push, I'm going to push. Now I know it's not poop. It's the baby. I'm going to push. I hope y'all are ready. And so that was that. So the second time around, calling on God was my pain relief because I didn't have those artificial contractions. My body was doing what it needed to do. It was just having to get her over a pelvic bone. I'm losing it now. And so I called on God. That was that. Okay. I just want to say that we can do it, ladies. I would like to see more ladies go back to where we came from. Black midwives were the pillars in our Black community. We could not go to the white hospitals, white only hospitals. We would not get proper treatment if we were seen, but we could not go. We had to deliver our babies at home. And so when people call me superwoman, I'm like, your great grandma probably did this. Maybe your grandma even did this. My grandma delivered her 11 children at home, we can do this. And so I got that doula. Now I want to say about my doula, she really is more of a traditional midwife. She just does not have the certification yet, but she operates as a traditional midwife. So I want to say she is not a traditional doula. Doulas really are just for emotional assistance to I call it being your best friend through your pregnancy, and Shira was so much more than that. So I want to put that disclaimer on there. Every doula is not like Shira. If you want my doula, you need to get my doula Shira. I just want to say that. But okay, I'm getting lost.
No, that's perfect.
So the comb, it's a wooden comb and it's not sharp, but if you press into it, it's supposed to help take your mind off the contractions. You're putting this uncomfortableness in your hand, pressing into this wooden comb. I'm not thinking about the contractions because I'm hurting my hand essentially. Um, the only thing I would change about my labor is practicing more. I would walk through the house and hold that ice in my hand. I would practice in my home. Pretty much the only practice we did was the birthing class, and I just wish we had more practice. But that was all. It still went smoothly. I just would practice being uncomfortable more so I can sit in it more. Like at one point, Shira asked me to squat, and it was so uncomfortable. I was like, no, I can't do that. Like I just jumped out of the position. I can't do that. So I would just practice more. That's all.
Yeah, yeah. I love that you said that. And thank you for making the clarification about the doula, because some people think that doulas birth babies and they do not.
No.
That is not their job. That's not their role.
Mhm.
I birth with a midwife.
Actually can get in trouble. The laws are getting more strict because don't take these women out of this hospital. We need you to come to this hospital. We need your money. And the laws are getting more strict about that. Even if it's an accidental birth, you just happened to be there laboring at home and the baby flew out, they still are kind of looking at you sideways like you did this at home. And that's just so disheartening to me. I know that it can be dangerous, but I did my research. I trusted Shira. We had lots of talks. I did my due diligence to get me and my baby through this safely. And we should have that option. We definitely should. We should not be persecuted for that. Because again, I saw a video. I actually shared it in the Miss chat. We were birthing our babies. Black midwives, we were birthing and raising our babies. And then integration happened. So now we can go into these hospitals and Black midwives were villainized. Oh, that's nasty. Oh, that's dangerous. Oh, that's not safe. You need to go to the hospital. And so now we put all of our trust into the doctors, into the hospital, when really put the faith in yourself and in God, because that's exactly what I did. And I got my baby here perfectly fine. So trust in yourself.
Yes. Trust in yourself. Oh my gosh. Yes. Oh my goodness. Okay. Another thing I want to bring attention to, because I love that you did this, was the timeline. When you hear it, your placenta came out an hour later. When you look at what happens typically, or what we've seen happen, is if the placenta is not out in 5 minutes, 10 minutes, there's no waiting. You have to ask for people to wait. And ladies, don't be afraid to ask to wait, because if you are in the hospital, they can monitor you and make sure that everything is okay. And so you don't want to just be on somebody else's timeline just for the sake of it. Your body just needs time to do what it was designed to do. And you gave it that time. And I think that's so beautiful. The other thing I want to say, when you talked about all the different things that you did, the natural induction methods, right? You weren't trying to force baby out. When we do natural induction, like the walking, positioning, better positioning through the mile circuit, all we're doing is making suggestions. I think of natural induction methods as like suggestions. So if I'm walking more, or if I decide to do a T, or if I decide to have intercourse with my husband or my partner, then those are suggestions to baby to come. But we're not forcing them out. And when it's medical, sometimes it feels to the baby like they're being forced out, like they're being evicted. And then you wonder why your body then turns into, it's almost like protective mode, but it becomes urgent, right? It becomes very urgent. And when that happens, we can lose control. And you didn't allow that. You just knew that baby was probably going to come, just like Kinsley came a little bit, earlier than what people expect. And you did all of those things. For people who, though, are not active, because you remember throughout your pregnancy, you were always above 6,000 steps. And so you taking that extra walk, or you doing a 30-minute walk, that is not outside of your normal. And you're able to check and see, well, how did my blood pressure respond, my heart rate, my stress, my sleep? And so in knowing that your body tolerated it well, you were able to do that. But there are some people who go from doing nothing their pregnancy to at 39 weeks starting these induction methods, and that actually can be really stressful on the body. So I want everybody to hear, she was active her entire pregnancy. So this was just a different activity, but she was always active. And so I want people to hear that, not just jump to, oh, I'm going to walk 10 miles a day, or do curb walking for 30 minutes, or stairs that I've never done. That was your norm. You were just given a different technique or activity to do. And then the last thing I want to say with the sugar, because sometimes people don't know the impact that sugar can have on them. I don't know if you recall, but during your pregnancy, we were just looking at different things to improve your sleep quality. So if you can't sleep
Mhm.
well, we try to sleep better, right? Ideally, you would have both. And for you, it was cutting out that sugar before you went to bed at night, right? If you did see your blood pressure creeping, then you would go and change what you were eating. Hubby would cook, you would make modifications. And so it's course correcting so that you can be home, because we can't be home if we're not healthy, right? And you chose before pregnancy to be healthy, during pregnancy to stay healthy, and so you got the outcome that you wanted. I think it's the one of the most beautiful stories I've ever heard, and your ability to describe it. Who wouldn't want that kind of experience? I don't know if you've heard birth stories before, a lot of them, but they don't sound like yours. They don't sound like
Or you
yours.
don't remember. I don't remember every single little detail from my hospital birth. I can't give you a timeline, and that's one of my biggest, it's not a regret. That's one of the things that I would change if I could. I don't know the timeline because my husband, I would record more. He recorded like the whole time this time. And that's how I can give you this timeline, because obviously, I'm in the pool, it's a little foggy, but I can look back through the pictures and videos and say, okay, 9:30, there was no placenta. Now there is a I can put that. Shira was logging all that. Hey, your baby's head came out at this time, your placenta, she had all of that documented. So we were at our own pace. And I really want to emphasize that hospital births are okay. You can have a wonderful natural birth at a hospital. I just wanted to do it at my own pace. I didn't want any suggestions, any of that, people coming in and out of my room, being in that sterile, cold hospital. I didn't want that. I wanted to be home and comfortable, and I wanted my 4-year-old to be there. So that's why I chose that. Nothing wrong with hospital births. You can go do it your way in the hospital. Just know you may have to fight a little bit. And it's great to have a doula by your side for that, because Shira is a pit bull. If you say this is what's on your birth plan, she's going to make it happen. If you say no C-section at all, unless the baby literally is about to stop breathing, she's going to make that happen for you. So
Yeah.
yes. Natural induction, the baby is not going to come until the baby is ready.
Yes.
So, like you said, when you get induced with Pitocin and things, you're working against your body. If your body is not ready, it's not going to happen. You can stay at 2 centimeters for 3 weeks. You can go from 2 centimeters to 8 centimeters in 10 minutes. It's all up to your body. So, yes, baby was ready to come. I did those things because those contractions started, and I'm like, okay, 39 weeks, I don't really want to go to 40. Let's try this. It was never a girl, you got to get out of here. This has to work. It was just, let me see if this works. I'm so ready to meet my baby. I've researched these methods. Let me try all these things tonight. I have the contractions. Let me try these natural things and see if I can do it. I want to add, Tuesday, Casey was born Thursday. Tuesday, when I went to the doctor, I asked for a membrane sweep. I prayed on it. I wanted no type of interventions, but I was just so ready to meet her. And so I was like, let me see if they can sweep the membrane. That's basically where they just take their fingers and do a sweep along the lining to try to encourage labor to start. It's still natural induction, no medicine, nothing like that. And they told me no because of the positive GBS. They told me no. I had a fit when I left that office. How dare she tell me no? I had a fit, but they didn't want to introduce the bacteria to the baby. You're putting the baby at risk. I completely understood, but you told me no. Like, what do you mean? I'm dilated, I'm effaced. What do you mean? So that really pushed me. When those contractions came the next day, I said, all right, I'm gonna do this myself. That was just God wanting me to be able to say I did it all myself. The doctor didn't induce me. There was no he just wanted me to be able to say I really had an unmedicated natural birth. So that's all that no was. That no was the no that I needed, because I went home and did it myself.
Yes.
Also, along the way, I did the raspberry leaf tea. I want to say I started at 34 weeks. Again, these things do not force your baby to come. They prepare you for when your baby is ready to come. The raspberry leaf tea tones your uterus so you can recover better, and so your contractions will be more meaningful when you do have the contractions. You can drink raspberry leaf tea when your menstrual cycle is on. It helps with that. It's a natural method. It just helps your uterus tone up up. So when labor is here, you're ready. I ate 6 dates a day. I tried to. That is supposed to shorten the first cycle of labor. I tried, but those dates were so big and they were so sweet. I didn't quite get the 6 a day, but I tried. You can eat those your entire pregnancy. They're great for fiber. They're high in natural sugar, so be mindful of that, but eat them your entire pregnancy. They're healthy for you. They do not induce labor. Primrose evening oil. I had the capsules. I inserted those starting at 38 weeks. I want to say 38 weeks. I poked a hole in the capsule, inserted one vaginally, and I took one orally every single day. I feel like that helped with my effacement. It just helps your cervix loosen up and get softer. So when labor is here, your cervix is like, oh, I'm already nice and soft. Let's open this thing up. It just helps your labor. These are not to make you go into labor. They just facilitate you. When your baby says, okay, I'm ready to come out, you can get the show on the road. So those are the things that I did.
I love that you added this. Oh my gosh, because people always ask us, okay, what can I do to get this baby here? You weren't thinking about, you were thinking when baby comes, how do I make my uterus more toned,
Yes.
my cervix softer, my contractions stronger? I am just.
And I told her when I would take these things or when I would start taking a new thing, I'm like, hey, girl, I'm not rushing you. I literally would talk to her. I'm not rushing you. I'm just trying to prepare for you to come. I said that because I wanted it in the atmosphere. I wanted God to know. I wanted her to know. I'm not rushing you. Take your time. I'm just trying to prepare out here. So that's what's going on.
Yes. Now, if she looks hungry or something, do you need to?
No, she's fine. She makes this like grunting noise when she's like, give me my milk. So she's
okay.
just,
Okay. Perfect. I just didn't want her to be.
Yeah, no, she will let me know. She's so quiet and sweet, but when it's time to eat or get that butt changed, she's going to let you know.
Okay, you're the best. Okay, so I want to fast forward to postpartum so people hear what happened and how you took control of something that was unexpected. So after delivery, a little bit after delivery, your blood pressure starts to go up, right? And initially you were like, this machine is broken. Nothing's wrong with me. What's up, right? But as you kept taking it and realizing that, wow, it's a little elevated, I have to take action, right? Have to take action. And so you did. Can you walk us through, like, because I know you've talked to me about what you feel happened, and I think it happens with all of us, and we have to course correct. But what do you think contributed to your blood pressure spike? And then let's just talk through Dr. Evans' role in all of this. And I'm so excited about this because delivery can go how we want it to. Postpartum is its own journey, right? And so we always talk about how pregnancy is one marathon and then we're just really signing up for another. But when we have our babies, it can be a little harder to prepare for that marathon because we don't know what it's going to look like. So can you talk us through a little bit of your postpartum?
Yes, so I agree. 3 marathons: pregnancy, delivery, postpartum. 3 separate things, 3 separate journeys. So blood pressure was fine the entire time. One day I even got a 110 systolic, and the lady was like, "Oh, you're very calm." So like she looked at me like, "Oh wow, you're having a calm day." So blood pressure was great. Especially it runs in both sides of my family, my mom's side, my dad's side, hypertension, high blood pressure. So it was great the whole pregnancy. I stopped. I was in the hospital for 2 days. They were taking my blood pressure. The numbers were beautiful. So when I got home, I stopped. Dr. Cat had told us about blood pressure. That's why we have the blood pressure cuff. I did not understand the severity of it at all. So I stopped taking it. So she, like she said, helicopter, but in a good way, because she cares. And that's what I love about this program. They care. They genuinely care. So kind. Dr. Cat talks so kindly to me. Like, I can tell that she's stern, like, hey, you haven't been taking your blood pressure, but like also she's so kind about it. When I told her, oh yeah, it gave me 155 the other day, and so I just stopped taking it because that can't be right. She was like, Yeah, it probably is, right. Can you give me some more readings? Let's keep an eye on that. Gently saying like you need to start back taking your blood pressure. But it was that's literally how she said it. Let's get some more readings so we can keep an eye on it and see what your trend is. I'm sure those are her exact words. And so I'm like, "Oh, okay. She's telling me to take my blood pressure every day. I need to stop playing." And so I did, and the numbers were elevated. And so she would check back. We would go back and forth, checking in with each other. Dr. Amber, hey, your number got up to 168 today. Okay, like what's going on? 155. It just kept going up and up. And so I went for my 6-week checkup. My OB said it was elevated, and she was a little worried because it hasn't been elevated. And so she said, I need to get a primary care physician. I had just moved back here not long. I'm very healthy. I have no health issues. So I didn't have a PCP. So I got one. I actually told Dr. Cat, I said, okay, this is what happened at the appointment today. And I need to find a PCP. And so I started looking. My OB gave me options. I was just kind of dragging my feet, like it's not at the front of my plate. I'm focused on other things. So Dr. Cat says, hey, have you found a PCP? I said, no, I'm going to make some calls today. She said, well, here's Dr. Evans. Do you want to try her out? Give a look into her. And so Dr. Evans is a Black doctor. I'm like, okay, here's a Black woman who knows what I've gone through. Like she can relate to my journey. Let me give Dr. Evans a try. And I did. I went to a checkup with her. She said, okay, I see these numbers. We need to get you on some medicine. We need to get this down right away. And so I do not like medicine. I don't even want to take Tylenol for a headache, anything like that. I'm a natural remedy woman. And so I said, okay, you're right. This is pretty scary. I need to be here to take care of these children. I agreed to the medication, but let's discuss how to get me off this medication. I made sure that she understood I don't need a bandage. I need a fix. So let's get on this medication so I can get to a reasonable level to be able to function. And then let's figure out how we're going to get off of this. And she was like, yes, of course. We're going to start you on this dose and do it this way. And then you'll check back in with me. And if it's better, then we'll wean you down and we'll just slowly wean you off of it. I said, all right, let's do it. So I did that medicine maybe a month, maybe 2, but it wasn't working. I was checking in with Dr. Evans. It was dropping, but it wasn't good enough. Like it should have significantly dropped it, and it wasn't working. And so it was steady going up. I got up to 168. I was hanging out kind of in the 140s, maybe 150, and I got up to 168, and I was like, oh my goodness. So Dr. Cat was like, hey, I saw your number today. We need to talk to Dr. Evans. This medicine is not working for you. I would take my pressure an hour after I took it. It didn't drop enough. She's like, this is not working. So I told Dr. Evans what was going on, and she said, okay, let's try a different medicine. Now, the most important part about this, I had a friend who had blood pressure issues. She had her baby maybe 2 weeks after me, and her medicine, she said it dried up her milk. And so I was terrified when Dr. Cat said, hey, maybe we need to try medicine. I was like, Dr. Cat, this is what happened to my friend. Like, I need my milk. I have to breastfeed this baby. It's a non-negotiable. And so she's like, hey, I had to get on blood pressure medicine myself. There are meds. You're going to be fine. We're going to find the right medicine. I told Dr. Evans, I know, girl. I told Dr. Evans the same thing. And she's like, I got you. We're going to try this medicine. If it doesn't work, we'll try another one. So they really put me at the forefront and listened to what I had to say. I was just in that appointment talking Dr. Evans' head off, but she listened and she addressed my concerns. And that is what healthcare is supposed to do. They're supposed to listen to you, not just tell you, well, this is what I want and this is what I need. Hey, do you agree with this? Is this the plan of action that you want to take? I love that. So yes, got on a second medication. It's working wonderfully. It's working so well twice a day that I got ready to bathe Casey one night, and it was 7:00. I was supposed to take my second dose, and I felt so lightheaded. So I'm like, hey, hubby, can you bathe her? I don't feel right. And so I checked my blood pressure. It was like 100 over 62. It was super low. I had never been that low. And so I reached out to Dr. Cat. Hey, should I take the medicine if I'm this low? And she's like, oh no, like let's reach out to Dr. Evans. It's at nighttime. And so I reached out to Dr. Evans the next morning. I withheld medication. And she said, yes, hold the meds. Let's talk. And so she moved me to 1 time a day. And she told me, if your numbers get below these, skip the medicine. You don't need it for that day. And so the past 3 days, I've been able to skip my medicine. Today, I was a little elevated. And so I took it this morning. But that's where I am in the journey now, trying to figure out what I need. Like, is my body able to do it, or do I need the medication sometimes? So I'm at a good place right now.
Yeah, yeah, you're in such a good place. And I love how you just talked this through, because the sometimes there are people who are asked, and I mean, you just had a baby, who are asked to find a primary care doctor. That is such a hard thing to put on your plate. But then also, if you have a doctor, do they have the ability to get you in immediately? And so I really want ladies to hear this. If you, I know that there is an OB who, if someone's high in her office, she goes ahead and gets them something to get started. And then that way you have that time to look, right? Because we know that realistically, it's just hard. It's just hard because we have a lot of stuff going on. What I love about Dr. Evans is, I mean, it's literally that night or the next day. She's like, we're going to make something happen. And she doesn't care what she has to do in her schedule to make sure that she's there for you all. And so I just, even that night when your blood pressure was low, I just shot her a message and was like, hey, well, what does she need to do? And what I loved about her was that her recommendations were not just medicine, right? Remember, she was like, coconut water, make sure you have bananas because you've
Oh,
been
yes.
like,
Lifestyle changes. I forgot to add that part. We discussed lifestyle changes as well. Cooking different, low sodium. So I got the meds, yes, and then we had a conversation. Okay, what am I going to do differently as far as exercise and diet to help the medication so I can get off of the medication? Thank you, Dr. Cat. We definitely had that conversation. It wasn't just, oh, get medicine, do whatever you want to do. It was, okay, get the medicine, cut the sodium, get active. She told me boots on the ground. She said, do you like boots on the ground? I said, my daughter has been singing that this week, and I told her that we were going to learn the dance. And so I did it one day, and it was a workout. So yes.
Yes, and I wanted to highlight that, Jaquetta, because you have always been an active participant in your own rescue. When you hear about that phrase, if you're willing to work, then what you're trying to make work will work better, right? And I did not want to miss that because you have been moving more. I remember when you messaged me and you about the ramen, like how you check the label. Sometimes I hear people and they say, oh yeah, I checked the label, but they're checking for sugars, checking for calories. They're not necessarily checking for sodium. And so you checked it and was like, okay, this is a mess. It's almost
my daily amount.
Your daily amount. And so I just love the awareness, because the changes that we're making postpartum, that I had to make postpartum, that's my life now.
Lifestyle changes.
Right. Because I will not, when I'm 70, die of heart disease because I didn't sustain the changes that I knew I needed to make post-delivery. And like you, I consider myself pretty healthy, right? I made good decisions, but there is always better. There's always more that we can do. And you and your husband and your family have decided we're just going to do better.
He
And
stayed on
not just for ourselves, but for our babies too.
Yes. I want to say, like, he stays on me like, I can't think of an example, but like, hey, there's a lot of salt in that. Like with the noodles, I was like, well, I'll just eat them every now and then. He was like, no, you're not. We're gonna cut the noodles. Like he and I kind of looked at him like, but he said it just like that in a loving way. He said, no, we're not gonna do that. I said, well, I can just have like one pack. He said, no, right now we need to leave those alone until you get this under control. And that's what you need. You don't need yes men around you. You need someone to say, hey, no, not right now. Okay. We'll revisit that once you get this under control. But I need my wife here with me. Okay. And I respect him so much for that, because who cares? He could just be like, okay, babe, do whatever. I don't have to cook for you, because he cooks most of the meals. Love that. He loves to cook. I don't. So yes, he wasn't selfish about it. Oh, well, that's one less thing I have to cook for her. He was like, no, I'm gonna go run and get something, and I'm gonna cook you a nice healthy meal. You're not eating these noodles.
Yes, yes. Oh my gosh. Okay, so now we're here, and we're about to start work on Monday.
Monday.
Oh, but you have really, because my prayer when your blood pressure did spike, and I mean, you sounded just like me, and I was like, I had to lose vision before I saw what I needed to see, right? And
Can I interrupt you to talk about that conversation we had? I definitely need to talk about that. Dr. Kat has been through this blood pressure journey, and she had shared with us, but it still wasn't clicking to me. So when I told her, "Hey, I haven't been taking it," she was like, "Hey, I apologize. I don't think I've done a good enough job explaining to you that blood pressure is a silent killer." When I got that 155, I said, "Yeah, Dr. Kat, it gave me 155, but I felt fine." And I looked at my husband; he's worked in the medical field, and he was like, "Oh yeah, like you would, you look fine, like you're fine." And so when I told her that, she was like, "Hey, I'm sorry. I don't think I've done a good enough job explaining blood pressure is a silent killer. You don't know until you know. You will go months with elevated numbers, months of your body silently struggling, and then you have a stroke or you have a heart attack or something like that happens." And when she said that, I was like, "Oh my gosh, like I thought that it was okay for me to just not take it or take it every now and then, but I really understood when she said, like, you just go, like your body just goes into distress and then it just stops." And I was like, oh my gosh, like I know people who've had a heart attack, who I just had a cousin, I want to say he's in like his 40s. He just had a stroke. He recovered from it gratefully, but he just had a stroke because of blood pressure. So I'm like, wow, I did not realize how big blood pressure was. And I got serious. Ever since then, I was like, okay, Dr. Kat. And I felt very ignorant because I didn't know. But to say that to a woman who's been on this journey and who had very serious trouble, I was like, oh my goodness, I feel so bad that I wasn't understanding how serious it was. But I understand now, and Dr. Kat did a great job explaining to me why it's so important. Not just, you need to check it, you need to check it. Hey, here's what could happen if you don't do what you will with that information.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that because I think when women come to be on this journey with us, you really become like our sisters, you know? Um, and it's like every picture you send, everything, like we look at it, we love it, we celebrate it, and we just want you to thrive, you know? We just want you to thrive. And I know that people around me wanted that for me too, but I'm very strong-willed. And it didn't help that my doctor was not supportive. Um, and so it's like you resist when people aren't supportive. And it's not an excuse. I'm a healthcare provider and I knew better, right? But we want all of you to be okay. And that's why we're here. And so I was so happy. Amber and I were just talking about just how receptive you are to everything and how it makes it so much easier because we know that at the end of the day, only we can make the change. Only we can make the decision. People can suggest, people can try to force you to do things, but that's not the method. That's not the method sisters take with each other. And so I am just grateful, like seeing you like this, seeing your blood pressure, how it is, seeing you where you are right before you go to work. Because my prayer, I was fasting, I was praying, I was like, when she goes back to work, we have to be okay. Because once we get to work, it's too late to try to fix things, right? And God was just like, I don't normally work on a timeline, but I'm gonna do y'all a favor.
And he did it. He did it.
He did it. He did it. And here we are. And you are going back to work in the best position that you possibly could and in an amazing actual position at work. And so I just can't wait to see. We know that as we shift, our data is going to change and we need a little time to reestablish a new baseline, but we're so happy to be here with you on this journey, for you to be here, for you to be healthy, and for us to just have this lovely relationship. I think you're one of the most incredible women I've ever met, ever. And your babies are so lucky to have you as an example. And you think about grandmas and great grandmas doing it, your girls are going to be able to say, my mom did it, so I can do it. And with you infusing in them, when you sent us a video of you with the kids at school, and you just, the way you use and incorporate scripture, girl, they're going to believe so much in their divine design, honey. You're going to be their doula and midwife. Okay.
Yeah.
I truly
deliver my grandbabies.
believe that. Yes. Right. Thank you. Thank you. We're at the end. You've given so much to everyone listening, directly to moms, which I think that's what we need. We need to hear from people like you so that we can know that it's possible for us too. Just like we do in careers, we need it for motherhood. And so thank you for sharing the way that you shared. Is there anything you want to say that did not come out in this conversation? Because I want to make sure I give you space for that.
I think we covered it all. Pregnancy. I think we covered it all. I do want to say I really have the softest spot for mothers. I want to put my email out there. So anybody watching this video, if you want to contact me, please do. If it's just to say like, oh, I really enjoyed the podcast. Like I love to know that this is going to help someone. Like I would like to know that. So even if it's just you emailing me saying, hey, I needed that podcast, or if you have some questions, like I will be there for you. After I've gone through this journey with so much support, I'm trying not to get emotional because y'all, these women have really lifted me up. And sometimes I just sit and think like, if I did not have Mist and Shira, my doula, on my side, where would I be? If I did not have that blood pressure cuff from Mist, I would have never known. I wouldn't have known it was elevated until that 6-week checkup. And would I have taken it seriously afterward if I didn't have Dr. Cat saying, hey, did you check your blood pressure? Hey, it's a silent killer. You really need to. If I didn't have her there, when would I have found a PCP? Would it have been a month later? Then maybe my blood pressure would have been stroke level. I think about the what ifs and then I say, okay, squash that because you did have those women. Now, who are you going to help? These women have given you so much wisdom. What are you going to do with it? And that is why I was so excited to do this podcast. And on my own social media, I'm going to tell my story as well because we can do it. We can do it. Have the faith in yourself, in your God. We can do it. So my email is juquettareynolds@gmail.com, JUQUETTAREYNOLDS@gmail.com. Please email me if you need some help, if you need me to help connect you to my doula, if you just want to say the video was great, thank you for sharing your story, please email me.
Thank you so much. Thank you for being on. Thank you for your wisdom, to your
Thank you
love.
for having me.
Oh my gosh.
Thank you for loving me. I tell you have to go Google Mist and look at my Google review. Like I will scream it to the hills. These ladies saved my life and they really have made a sisterhood with me.
Thank you. We love you.
I love you. Bye-bye.
Bye, baby girl.